So, the biggest failures. So, this day, when I start any wedding, I start with men. Men are the ones who start dancing. So, I called the father to the groom and the bride. And the father to the groom actually took the microphone and asked all men not to come. Yes. He brought the whole show down. So he asked them, no, huu ni kama wale ma-MC wanaambiaga wengine wakae chini, musikuje. And they didn't stand. So that was the worst. But luckily, by God's grace, I called the women, and the women came out, and it was a great thing. Another thing that has ever happened to me, one of the flaws, was I was doing a Muslim wedding. So during this Muslim wedding, the bride and the groom had put some champagne on the cake table. So the uncles came and asked me to remove the champagne from the cake table. Well, I told them, and I was not the one who had put it there, and the bride was very particular, and the bride and the groom were very particular about the champagne. So I asked them if they could talk to the bride directly, then I'll give a go-ahead for the champagne to be removed from the table. What? It was a Swahili wedding. Within 1 minute, I had been given all the insults in the world. I had been insulted like thoroughly. Wow. So I remember I just asked the DJ to put some music on. I went and sat down, and I took some Fanta, and I relaxed. So the next time getting the microphone, I asked the guys who are the guests. I told them we had come to make merry, to rejoice, to have fun. And the thing about us being making the wedding ours was not right. It was meant for the bride and the groom to make the experience good, you know. So I asked them if they were not happy about anything, to just keep quiet and relax rather than spoiling the whole mood of the wedding. And I remember the women supported me. Hey, all the women were like, yes, MC. All the women who were seated down, they stood up. And the uncles who were against, they stood up and left. So once the uncles had left, we danced, we continued. So when speech time came, I was supposed to call these uncles. I didn't know it was them. So calling, they turned up. To my amazement, they turned up. And I was like, hiya, okay, perfect, sawa. The first thing they did was to greet me, and they said, young man, we like your position. You know your work, and you have stood your ground, and that was good. We are sorry if we made you feel bad in any way, but we apologize. And the wedding was so good. Now, the bride did not know anything. So after 2 months, when she's watching the raw copy, that's when she calls me and tells me, she asked me, Aya, head boy, you mean this happened in my wedding? And I'm like, yeah. Oh, thank you so much for solving it so well. 2 minutes later, ting ting, M-Pesa, 20,000.
Shukran.
Yes.
Okay, and when it comes to morning, rorashos. Have you done any rorashos?
Yes, I've done rorashos.
What are some of the dramas that you've witnessed as an MC?
Rorashos are very complicated. They're not like weddings. Rorashio is more or less two families meeting, and it could be meeting for the first time. So there's a lot of back and forth. Number one, when they come singing, you know, this is not a fully fledged wedding. This is a traditional wedding. And you find that if you have two tribes marrying, before you merge them, it's usually a problem. Because these people will tell you, these are our customs. The rest will tell you, oh, these are our customs. So trying to merge. And there are some who will not conform to the other tribes' customs. So it's for you to look for a middle ground and bring them. Number two is when these people are meeting for the first time, at the gate, you know you have to open the gate with some money. It happens to most of the tribes. And you find that these aunties who go to the gate, or uncles, or anyone who goes to the gate to receive the others, they ask for ridiculous amounts of money. And that is usually something that really it's not good.
Have you ever been to a wedding that they asked so much that even either the groom was mad or
Yes.
either the bride was what was happening?
Now, this was a wedding. Now, in the morning, they asked for these big tanks of water. And it's in the morning. No shop is open, no hardware is opened. And they're asking, was it 1,000 liters? A drum? Hey, let me tell you, it was a problem. The groom got mad. He actually, he was called and he told his family to go back home. I think they solved the matter from 8 in the morning. They solved the matter at 2. That's when the bride was released. And the groom stood his ground. He said he was not going to give anything out. And it was so dramatic. I was worried. I was worried about the wedding, number 1. And I was worried about my money, number 2. So, you know, when a wedding stops, the chances of you getting back or getting paid are so thin. So I had to make things happen. So I became the mediator. Another thing, another drama that happens, but this is during weddings, is with SDAs. No offense to any SDA person. In the morning, in the church, if you are a lady who is dressed up just like you, when they get in, they're told either to do away with the makeup, to wash their face, to remove the earrings, to do away with the lipsticks, the eyelashes, the jewelries, you know. And if you're putting on a sleeveless top, you're asked to actually put a veil or a kitamba.
Have you ever witnessed?
Yes, not once. I've done so many SDA weddings, over 40 of them. And again, it's not a problem with the pastor, it's with the elders. You know, during the wedding for SDAs, the pastors are usually, the pastors are okay. But now, during that day, you find when your family and his family come, they come with their elders from different churches. So when they come, they have to go to the vestry, to the room where they prepare. And at that point is where they now introduce themselves and they say, in our church, we don't accept this, we don't accept it. So you find there is a mixture or a cocktail of ideas that do not conform to the church. So the bride or the groom is usually called and told to rectify some things just before the service. It's usually a very nasty experience. It's a very nasty experience for the bride when she's asked to do so many things. I've had a situation whereby the planner and the decker person, they were refused from getting into the church because walikuwa wamevaa kama watu wa dunia. Yes, that is SDA, no offense. But it's good just to point some things out. So, yes, I had another drama whereby the bride really insisted that they wanted to have their rings at the church, and they refused. They told them they have to do that. Yes. Another thing is about songs, the choice of songs, and this is to all churches. When you do your songs, you should be very, very, very particular, because there are some churches that will not accept some kind of songs. They will tell you, oh, this artist, no. Okay, he's known as a gospel artist, but you don't consider. For SDAs, you're supposed to go with the songs by SDA choirs. Panapo Pendo. You're supposed to do SDA songs. Yes.
Have you ever been to a wedding whereby they played the secular music and they were either stopped or they
Yes.
were told to go back, come back? Okay.
At the middle of the aisle.
What was the situation?
So these guys, they play "I Want to Marry You" by Diamond and Neo. At the middle, the pastor takes the microphone, he stops the music, he asks them to go back. After asking them to go back, he asked the choir to sing. Even the bride got in with a choir song. Yes, she was sung in by the choir. It was so horrible. And you know, as an MC in church, you can only do much. It's the pastor. I'm actually a pastor. Yes, I'm a licensed pastor.
You officiate weddings?
I can officiate weddings. But now, you know, some pastors are a bit rigid and some who are very open-minded. Yes. Another thing is when you're planning, there are some churches that don't accept garden weddings. I've had people who have planned weddings for a garden wedding just to be told a few months to that they have to do a church wedding. And that brings with it some financial implications.
What happened?
So this guy, when I met with him, he's from, I don't know if I'm supposed to mention the name of the church.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Maybe you can say
So,
it's
yes.
Protestant or Catholic.
Actually, it's a Protestant church. And it's among these mainstream churches. So this thing happens. What was I saying?
Yes, the garden wedding, they were told not
Yes.
to.
So this guy, I met with him. He's from a mainstream church, a Protestant church. So I tell him, your church does not accept guys going for garden weddings. And he told us the pastor was cool. He had accepted the idea and actually was going to come. Then the parents are also pastors in the same church. And then the parents came, I think a month too. And they said, and the parents insisted they want to have a church wedding, that their church cannot accept a garden wedding. And all the other pastors came and they sided with the parents. Yes, and not just that, but there are some churches that don't accept garden weddings, and unless the garden weddings is a particular ground that has been consecrated, or in special cases. But we have had some rebels, or let me just say people who have who don't conform to such rules, and they have always gone out of their way to do garden weddings, which is a good thing. But in most cases, brides don't know that their church or their churches don't accept garden weddings.
Are there consecrated gardens in Kenya?
Yes.
Which one?
Windsor. Yes, Windsor is a Catholic consecrated garden.
Really?
And a few others, yes. But when you think about Windsor, it's not for anyone. It's about a luxury wedding. Yes.
Okay.
And there are a few more.
All right. So any disasters that you've had with, in terms of food, let's talk caterers. Food is it's a very important component in a wedding. What are some of the disasters that you faced?
Food is very key. And we have had stories about food. My first incident was when food came at 5. Yes.
What had happened is the caterer had gone away?
The caterer, I don't know, he got arrested on the traffic, and the food had to delay. So imagine making hungry people dance for hours. And luckily, there was a truck that was there, and I kept on telling them, the food is inside the truck, but after dancing, we are going to eat. And luckily, we danced. At some point, I was like, okay, fine, that's it. And I told them, sasa, mpumzikeni. And then once they were relaxing, the truck food came in. It was such a relief.
And the couple was there, or the couple had gone for
The couple was
session?
there.
Mm-hmm.
The couple was there. Another thing is there was this wedding I was hosting, and the soup. I think they had carried the soup with these big jerrycans, these buckets. All the soups poured. The soup poured, imagine. So the food was just, starchy, just food with no soup. Dry food. It was a nasty experience. Yeah. I don't eat in weddings.
Why?
Because I'm very particular when it comes to food. And my face is very sensitive, and my stomach as well. So anytime I eat food that is not well prepared, I always get a problem. So what I do, I always go and sample. If your food is good, I will eat. And I can actually tell you with a lot of confidence, I eat from 5 caterers. If I know they're providing food in a wedding, without a doubt, I will eat them.
Tony, you've ever had a food poisoning situation?
Yes.
Okay, tell us about that.
So this day, I go to a wedding, I eat. Actually, I was so hungry. It was out of Nairobi. So after I'd eaten, what? I was supposed to travel back
That was
from Kisumu.
After the wedding, or that was
After the wedding.
Okay.
So after the wedding, I'm traveling back to Kisumu, and my stomach was grumbling. I had to drop at Nakuru. My journey had to stop at that point. I booked a lodging there for 2 days. Imagine, because I could not go with my running stomach.
The food was from the wedding?
Yes, the food was from the wedding. Yes, it was a horrible, horrible experience. And to caterers, there's no specific, we can't say that there's a specific regulation for food in the wedding industry. You see, for hotels, it's very easy. It's an establishment where you have to have the health certificates and all this. The food handling is actually good. But now for the wedding service industry, who handles? Who knows where this food is cooked? Do you know even if the water is from a funny river just passing by their house? Yes.
Okay. And venue disasters, have you ever been to a venue that either natural disaster caused some havoc, rain, or maybe the tent came down, or have to dance in the rain and maybe felt like
if you've gone through my Facebook page, you'll see. Just recently, 2 weeks ago, it rained cat and dogs. My speakers were burnt, actually my equalizers, and we had to dance on the rain. It was such a horrible experience because everything was set. The church, it was a garden wedding beside the pool. Within 1 minute, the rain came. Everything else was distorted. We had to hold the church ceremony at the reception. And now, being at the reception, you can now imagine the kind of disorganization that we had to go to that side. Now, when the bride went, their car got stuck in the mud. It rained, the grounds were soaked, everything. Actually, I have all the photos. I think I'll send you the photos. And the bridesmaids, it was horrible. You could see us dancing in the rain with umbrella. Actually, I was the one holding the umbrella, but everyone decided to dance in the rain, which was a good thing. So I'm the one who held the umbrella because I was holding the microphone, and I didn't want it also to get rained on. That was the thing. But for my dancers, the bridal team and everyone danced. If you could only see the gown after the wedding, the mud was getting up to the knees. So, it was such an experience. And also the music was not well because some of the equipments were burnt. They had gotten some water and they were not functioning properly. So that is one. Just recently, a fortnight ago.
Talking of music, let's talk DJ and MC not blending in. Have you ever faced such challenges, and what advice would you give to brides? And give us some of the situations.
Dear brides, dear grooms, listen to me. And please listen to this voice. An MC and a DJ who have never worked before, you're bringing them in your wedding. Hey, that's a disaster. Because honestly, look at this. You're bringing someone who has never worked before. Personally, I've been doing weddings. I know the kind of music. I know at what intervals I'm supposed to put this music. So, we have been preparing our playlist for the past 5 years. We have been perfecting our playlists. Now, here today, you bring me a DJ that started DJing the other week, and you expect me to give you the same standards. That's totally wrong. That's absurd, even to think of just bringing someone who's from the blue. Brides, they think about saving money. I wish I could play you an audio clip. This chairman recommended me in the committee, and he said, head boy is good. Let me tell you, but they insisted they had their cousin who has very good equipments, and also he DJs in a club nearby. So I was supposed to go and MC. During the wedding, the DJ has no songs. So once the bride she's getting in, the equipments go silent. They just break down. No music. And it was a Catholic wedding. Guess what? The choir sings. Imagine. the equipment goes silent up to the reception. So throughout, the entrance song, the signing of certificate, and the exit, all were sung by the choirs. Imagine. From there, we get to the reception. Once the bride gets in, we want to dance. The DJ has no songs. I was so disappointed. And, you know, when this happens, the crowd does not know, your guest does not know, that these people, the MC and the DJ, are from different companies. They will say, oh, MC Headboy is such a great MC, but his DJ, hey, such a work. You know? So it's always very important to take an MC and take an MC who works with his own DJ. Or if you want to take an independent, ask the MC to recommend for you a DJ. Or better yet, ask the DJ to give you an MC that they have worked together. They have a chemistry. But you don't experiment chemistry in your own wedding. It will be a disaster. And let me tell you, I have had incidents. Actually, incidents whereby you are in the middle of a crowd and you're asking the crowd. The crowd tells you, put for us weko, weko. And then you're there, you ask the DJ, nataka unichezee weko, weko. Ah? And then DJ, I don't have a song. Next. And you're like, Jesus, where are you from? So, and you keep on telling the brides this, and they don't hear, and they don't get a thing. But during the wedding, after your wedding, once they go to another committee, it's when now they tell them, well, listen, let the MC come with his own equipment. The clever ones, they know how to do it. But that goes for you.